Happy Tuesday and welcome back to another great episode of Seasoned Sunflower Hour. I hope you guys are all doing well. And you know what? Jump into that comment section right over here and let us know what you've been up to, how your last 2 weeks have been going, because you know what? We have missed you since we have been here. And since we are back tonight, I want to get the night started with some thanks like we always do. Now, for those of you that actually know me, you know that I have a very love-hate relationship with technology. So I was unable to log into the account to get the names of everyone that donated on the last episode, but there were a lot of you. So I promise you, just because I can't say your names now, I will not forget you. So the next episode, you got to come back. I will give you all a shout out, but I want to thank you guys, all of you that donated. There were a lot of you that donated. Some of you were donating from the other side of the world. So many of you donated to the joke challenge. It was a great episode. We raised a lot of great money. So I want to appreciate and thank all of you. And let's keep it coming again tonight. We want to hit our next goal. And actually, speaking of hitting our goals, we did hit our $500 goal a few episodes back. So we will be doing the community game night. That's what you guys all win for us hitting our goal. And it's going to be so much fun. So that is going to take place next Tuesday night right here on Twitch. Make sure you come back 7 p.m. just like another show night. And I get to play some awesome games with another one of our ALS ambassadors, Sarah Martin. She's amazing. You guys will get to meet her. This girl, I have said it from day one since I met her. If anyone's going to figure this disease out and find a cure, it is going to be this girl. She has dedicated her entire life to studying ALS. She's working in the lab every single day. She's just incredible. So Sarah Martin's going to come back with me next Tuesday night and we're going to get to play games. And the coolest part about this is that you can play too. So if you join us back here next Tuesday night no, I'm ahead of myself maybe. No, it is next Tuesday. I don't even know my days anymore. It's June 22nd. So whenever that happens to be, June 22nd, right here at Twitch at 7 p.m. Come because you can actually play with us. So it's very interactive. You're not just going to watch us play. Can if you want to, but you can join in and play the games with us. It's going to be awesome. So come back for that. And speaking of awesome, our mini walk. We had our mini walk to defeat ALS on June 5th right here in Chicago, and it was a huge success. So again, a huge thank you to everyone that participated. The participation, you guys knocked it out of the park this year. It was all over social media. And the cool thing was you guys were walking virtually from all over the world, sharing your stories, sharing photos. We love seeing this. And while you were doing all that, you were raising such amazing awareness for ALS and some pretty great funds for ALS as well. So thank you guys so much. You can watch a recap. I think Sam will even post the link in our comment section if you guys want to watch a video of a little recap of the walk. Oh, there it is already. She's so on top of things. Now, we still have 3 more to go, so it is not done. There are 3 more mini walks to defeat ALS throughout the month of September. And again, the beauty of this whole new virtual world is you don't have to be here to do them. You can walk from anywhere. You can walk with anyone. It's going to be a great time. So it's not over yet. Make sure you still jump in. And again, there is no minimum. You don't have to raise a dime if you don't want to. You can. I say you go for it. You pledge, you try to get your friends and family to just chip in and donate for you. Maybe every minute you walk, every mile you walk, whatever you want to do. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Just spread some awareness. Just get out in the community and walk for ALS. So what else is on my list of things? Oh, Superhero Saturday. This is so darn catchy. I love this. So even though our Chicago walk that happened on June 5th is done, like I said, we still have 3 walks in September, but even once September is done, you can still keep going. You can be a superhero in our Superhero Saturday, and you can do that for the rest of the year. It'll stay up online the rest of the year. So really, there are no limitations to this. So guys, just get out and walk. It's summer, it's beautiful. The weather's finally getting nice. So let's walk for ALS. Ooh, another really exciting thing I get to talk about, Amazon. Who loves Amazon? Because I just went shopping on there today and I wish I would have known this. I did it before I found this out. Amazon is doing Amazon Smile. So if Sam can find that link, I think I threw her off guard by saying this one, she'll pop that up in the comments. So if you're shopping on Amazon, make sure you do it through this link because Amazon Smile will donate a portion of eligible purchases to our Greater Chicago chapter. That's huge. It doesn't cost you a cent. So if you're already shopping on Amazon anyway, why not do it for a great cause and let a portion of those donations come to us. So at some point in the show, Sam will put that link up. So make sure you check it out, Amazon Smile. And like you need another excuse to go shopping on Amazon, right? Because I know I do. So now let's get into it. Is another, I love saying this, it's just another great show. I've got two incredible gentlemen joining me tonight, and there's even going to be a little activity. So I'm real excited for this. It could be a disaster. It's going to be funny. Either way, it's going to be a real good time tonight. But we're going to kick off the show with my very first guest, who has spent his entire career dedicated to upholding and defending the law. I am so proud of him. I thank him for everything he's done. Now, between his background in law enforcement, as an attorney, as a lawyer, as a police officer, and now a judge, Daniel's courage and desire to help others has always been a driving force behind everything he's done. He has faced countless battles on the street and in the courtroom, but his largest battle came last year when he was diagnosed with ALS. Please welcome Daniel Schmidt. Hi, Dan.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm just fine.
And I know you already told me this, so I'm just going to let everyone at home watching know that you are still working, you're still a judge, and you were in court all day long. So you've been talking all day, so your voice is beat. So I'm going to take it easy on you.
Okay.
Or I'm going to try to, at least. I'll try to take it easy on you. Now, you were diagnosed last year, 2020, in the midst of probably the craziest time, at least I've ever encountered since I've been alive. What was it like to be diagnosed with ALS in the midst of this craziness and this global pandemic?
Well, I suppose, first of all, there's probably no good time to be diagnosed, but I assume it had to be worse because the clinics were closed and any assistance you had was virtual by Zoom. I was diagnosed first in Peoria, and then went down for a second opinion at Barnes-Jewish at Washington University, and that was in March, and we got the final diagnosis then. But so not being able to go in and see doctors and talk to them after the several hours of legalized torture they put you through. So yeah, that was weird because you had no contact and you wish you did. But like I said, there's probably no good time to get diagnosed with this.
Yeah, definitely no good. People hear me say this on every episode. This is not a family or a club you ever want to have to be a part of. But once you are, we embrace you with our arms wide open. So speaking of that, just embracing you into the ALS family, how'd you find your way to the ALS Association? And what has the Chicago chapter specifically, what have they meant to you?
Well, I was thinking about that, and actually the ALS Foundation found me. And I think probably through the docs in Peoria. And the first thing I received was a packet of goodies with some eating utensils that would help me eat, and some the Lou Gehrig books like his Man, and then a letter explaining how to contact the ALS Association for help. They've been, just marvelous. You don't know how you do it without them. And as far as helping me line up, a lift chair. And, a year ago when I first got diagnosed, I could walk. But getting up out of a chair was troublesome. So then they helped me with a lift chair and just staying in touch. And the other thing is probably maybe even more important, virtual, but to support groups and being able to talk to other people, even if it's virtual, being able to talk with other people, all different ages that are struck with this. And there's some comfort in that. And So that's been a big help.
Good.
Psychologically, and talking to people about how do you deal with this problem, how do you deal with that. It's really great because you have, especially with COVID, you have a tendency to feel all alone.
Well, just get ready because you haven't even this happened for you in the midst of the pandemic, so you haven't even gotten to experience the in-person support groups, right? So get ready for that because you think you feel the love now. Well, just you wait.
Uh,
Just so many things I want to talk to you about. You were just recently a part of one of this was so huge for us. So we've been talking about this a lot on the last show. There was a huge historic day. Everyone knows Lou Gehrigs. We say his name all the time, but there was Lou Gehrigs Day where the every single MLB baseball team came together and celebrated on this day. They celebrated Lou Gehrigs Day and raising awareness for ALS. You actually got to go to the game at Wrigley Field when the Cubs were playing home for Lou Gehrig's Day. What was it like? What was the atmosphere? What was the aura and the vibe like in that field? Because this was a huge day.
Probably the best day since I've been diagnosed. And everybody was incredible. I mean, I guess, run around in one of these wheelchairs, they know you don't have a broken leg. And so everybody was so kind. But Kendra and Sarah and Mike Trafton and some people were there, and it was fantastic. And shortly before the game, I got a new wheelchair, and I got a grant through the Gleason Foundation for the lift on the grant. And lo and behold, Steve Gleason and family were at the game. His son threw out the first pitch. And I'm sure that the ALS people had, Kendra or others had something to do with this. But in about the fourth inning, Steve Gleason's wife, Michelle, came up to where we were and talked to Maureen and I. And then about the seventh inning, she came up and said, "Well, I told Steve what you said about him, and he wants you to come down where we are." And so I got to go down and talk with Steve Gleason and thank him personally for what he does. And so that was really special. And you can't explain. And the Cubs won. And so, all in all, it was a perfect day.
I love that. An absolutely perfect day. My dad is a diehard Cubs fan, so I love that you're right there with him. That was a perfect, perfect day. And you got to meet somebody that meant the world to you.
Yeah,
That's
he really, I figured they're not a competitor; they're a companion or association to the ALS Association. But I think people with ALS need to know about the Gleason Foundation because what they can provide that ALS Association and others cannot.
yeah.
They're really amazing.
They work well together. And you know what? We both have this common cause of wanting to make a difference in the ALS community, wanting to help individuals with ALS and getting closer and closer to a cure. So we're on the same team. We're all helping each other out.
Yeah.
Now, you moved. You're actually there right now. So you are an hour ahead of us. So you bought a house in Maine. And when you got there, there was a surprise for you, I hear. So what was the surprise that was waiting for you?
Well, we bought this house about 6 years ago. They call them in Maine. Any house on a lake is called a camp. And
Oh,
this place is no Taj Mahal. It's 100 years old. But I'm looking out at a window at a 30,000 acre lake, and it's just sand bottom. It's beautiful. But we get here, and there are sunflowers growing all over the place. And first, my wife Maureen said, we need to cut those down. I said, no, because they collected bumblebees and later in the season, monarch butterflies. So then, of course, turn the page, I get diagnosed with ALS and find out that's the flower for the ALS Association, which makes me wonder if maybe the sunflowers cause ALS. I don't know.
They would never, ever. I think when we talked about this earlier, I feel like maybe they were mind readers and they knew what was coming. And so they were already there, standing strong, supporting you, giving you that love, knowing we're here to help you fight this battle. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I hope that's it.
Mhm. And I'm so glad you didn't let your wife cut them down.
She has surrendered and let me keep them up. So, but yeah, they haven't. They're up, but they haven't bloomed here yet. But I
Oh,
think
okay.
any day now they probably will.
Ooh, I love it.
Summer comes a little later up here than it does in Illinois.
Okay. Yeah, ours are blooming already. My grandpa planted a whole bunch of them in the backyard in honor of the show. And then I have some in my backyard. And darn it, I love animals so much, but I had a stern talking to the squirrels in my backyard because I feed them very, very well. So they have no reason to be ornery, but they chewed the heads off of every single one of the darn sunflowers. So I went out there. I had a little heart to heart with all of them. I hope they listen to me. I told them I feed you enough. I give you all kinds of peanuts and seeds and pizza and all kinds of good stuff. Don't do this to me. So I'm going to get some more. I'm going to try it again. And I think they're going to listen to me this time.
Well, let me know how that goes.
I will. I feel like they heard me. They looked at me. They understood. They stopped what they were doing. They paid attention. I feel like I got through to them. And if not, then I think we're going to just have to bring the show to you. I think Sam and I, Julie, we're going to have to pack up and we're going to have to drive out. We're going to come visit you in your place and admire all your beautiful sunflowers.
Yeah, they're fantastic because all the bumblebees. First, most of the summer, there just be hundreds of bumblebees out here,
Ooh.
and that's cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, another thing that's very cool is I was saying it in your intro. I mean, you truly have spent your entire life serving, helping others. I mean, it's so admirable. I respect you so much for everything you've done. Now, so whether it was, as I said, you either spent your whole career in the front lines with law enforcement or upholding and defending the law as a lawyer and now a judge, did a career built on the strength and courage that you had to have in those professions, do you think that helped you prepare for something like ALS?
Well, I don't know. I'll be honest, but I grew up a dirty Neck kid in central Illinois and a little river town. But I'm not the strongest guy. When I was big guys like Steve Gleason, I couldn't carry his briefcase and or his football, I guess. And the so I deal with it as best I can. And having my wife is a nurse, just recently retired after 42 years as a critical care nurse and clinical educator in a CVICU unit. So Maureen stuff his nails, and that certainly helps matters a lot.
How do you think this has been on her? How has she been handling everything?
I think it's tough on her.
I can imagine. And that's one thing we really try to make people understand. And ALS, it doesn't just affect you, it affects your whole family and everyone that loves you, everyone around you. They're all a part of this journey with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be a pretty heavy load. And so it's tough on both emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
Having to help me get up and things like that. So
Yeah. But I mean, we're laughing. You're not a heavy load, but I mean, it isn't easy. But despite everything, there's so much negative that comes with ALS, but there are some really positive things too, because when we were talking earlier, you had told me that you feel like one of the lucky ones. So with all of this, how could you say that? How do you feel like a lucky one?
Well, first of all, I'll be honest. I don't want to go all Lou Gehrig. I'm not feeling like his man on the face of the earth. I'll grant you that. But you look at Steve Gleason and you look at others. I'm 70 years old. I've got my son raised. Nobody's going on the cheese line when I die. And that brings a lot of peace of mind. I had 69 good years. Uh, the what heartbreaking for me is these people that get in their 30s and 40s and 50s with kids at home. I can't imagine. So, in the sense that I didn't get it till I was 69 years old, and uh, you know, and okay, and my son's raised. I don't have kids at home, and my boy can stand on his own 2 feet. That brings a lot of peace of mind. And so I'm much luckier than, and sometimes it makes me feel guilty when I'll be honest, I'm prone from now and again to have a pity party. And then I look at Steve Gleason and these others and other poor souls that get this in their 30s or 40s or 50s. And then I feel guilty about feeling bad.
Well, that's exactly why we do what we do, because even at 69, it's not fair. I mean, we keep fighting for this. We're going to keep doing things like this, spreading awareness, raising funds, because we're going to get there. We are going to get there so that nobody at any age ever has to deal with this, what we're going through.
If I
Not
got,
fair.
I should mention one other thing that you mentioned about the LS Society. Caught your sunflower hour one night some time ago, and you were interviewing Mike Crafton. Well, in Illinois, we like judges, and when I'm on the third district appellate court, which includes 21 counties, including my county down by Peoria, Tazewell County, and Will. And when I ran, I needed help in Will County. It's the biggest county, most populous. And I was introduced to Mike Crafton, who at that time was a patrolman on the Joliet PD and the head of their FOP. Well, Mike gave me a lot of help because I went to him and I said, "Do you think it'd be a good idea to have one person on the appellate court that knows what it's like? Been out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, having somebody trying to whip your butt," and so he agreed. And but then he gave me all this help, and then I hadn't seen him in 20 years until your show. And as soon as I saw it, I called another friend of mine up in Well and said, "How do I get a hold of Mike Crafton?" And I called Mike, and I said, "I don't know if you remember me, but I remember you with all the help." And so we chatted. And by the way, he was at Lou Gehrig Day, and I got to spend some time with him and plan on meeting with some friends of mine from one of them from Libertyville, where Michael's from, who's going to be here next. And we're going to meet at Mike Trafton's restaurant in Joliet sometime in July. So it was, yeah, I thought, gosh, Mike helped me 20 years ago. And unbeknownst to me, he's out there on the board of the ALS Society, still helping me.
It's
So
like you read my mind. You even beat me to the punch, because that's what I was going to bring up next. That we started this show to sort of bring awareness, spread awareness, keep our community together, do something a little fun. We had absolutely no idea that something this cool was going to happen. I remember getting that phone call because Mike called me, and then Julie, our executive director, called me. Yeah, I felt so excited to know that our show sort of reconnect people. You talked to him in 20 years. years by, no idea he was part of the chapter. You just happened to catch Joe, and boom, you guys rekindled. You got to spend time together. I think and I hear me. Sometimes I'm cutting out, but I'm just loving on everyone and how we can.
You were cutting out, but now I can hear you.
Good. Okay. You can't get rid of me that easy. Not quite yet. Before we go, I wanted to know, because you kind of brought this up when we talked earlier about your lift. So we had talked on the phone before about how important certain equipment can be when you are dealing with ALS. There's so many things that make your life harder. So it's so important for certain equipment that can make your life easier. So specifically, what has your lift meant to you? You said something really cool to me about this.
Well, first thing I'd said is when I have friends over at the house, and sometimes there's guys who are standing around, to be able to get up to eyeball level with them, and instead of sitting in the chair and looking up and then looking down at you, it's like you can forget you're sick for a while. You're just having a conversation, and you're not thinking, you're not doing it from a wheelchair. You're looking at people eye to eye, and you can forget you're sick. You really can. And of course, the other thing, it makes getting up easier. But probably the biggest thing is being able to have conversations eye to eye with people that are standing up in some sense of normalcy.
Yeah. That was so amazing because you said that, and I guess it never actually hit me. It never hit me that something as I don't even want to say simple because it's not simple, but something like just being eye level with somebody can make you forget that you're sick for the moment. That was just amazing. That really stuck with me.
Well, good. It's and like I said, it may seem inconsequential to somebody else, but when you're stuck in a
Yeah.
wheelchair, it means a lot.
Yeah. Well, you have some very exciting things coming up. I don't want to keep you here all night. We want to let you go and rest your voice. But you had mentioned to me, I mean, your son's getting married in a few days. So this is very exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole crowd's due to arrive here in about 2 days, so it'll be game on. And they'll
Uh,
be getting married Monday.
oh my gosh. In the same and he's keeping tradition, right? Because he's getting married in the same area, the same place that you and your wife got married.
That's right. Yeah.
I love it. I'm such a sucker for tradition and sentiment. So I love that. You have so many things, so many amazing things coming up to keep you busy. But I am so happy you're a part of this family. And thanks for joining us. Is there anything you want to say to everyone before we take it out?
Well, not that I can think of other than I'd say the ALS, because of my job, I can't solicit donations. It's crazy, but I can't. But I can just say both the ALS Association of Greater Chicago and Team Gleason have been just, I don't know what I'd do without either of you.
Well, we love you so much. And yeah, it's for you and for so many other people around the world that are battling this. We're going to keep this fight going. We're going to keep shouting it from the rooftops so that, like we said before, so that nobody has to go through this, no matter what the age. Dan, thank you so much. And thank you again for your service, and have a blast up there at that wedding. I hope you are just doing circles in your wheelchair, dancing around like crazy.
Yeah, I'll probably bust a move or two in the wheelchair.
Ooh, I like it. I want to be a fly on that wall, or one of those bumblebees actually by the sunflowers.
Okay.
Well, have fun, bust a move, and enjoy those sunflowers for us.
Well, thank you so much.
See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye. Ah, he is so much fun. He's just got such a beautiful, positive attitude. I love this. And it's always great hearing. I hear this time and time again. People battling ALS are some of the strongest, most incredible individuals I have ever met in my life. And it's really great hearing Dan say, you know what? every once in a while it does get tough, and he does feel bad, and he does have a little pity party, and then he snaps himself right out of it because, like I said, strongest, most incredible individuals I have ever known, those are the ones battling ALS. And this is why we need you. This is why what we are doing here tonight, the first and the third Tuesday of every month, that's why this is so important, to get awareness out there, raise funds for battling ALS. We will not stop until we find a cure. So you guys, make sure you head to our Tiltify campaign. We'll put the link for this up in the comments as well. Make a donation. No donation is too small, and all of the money goes to the Greater Chicago chapter, and we provide every single service to those with ALS and their families free of charge. And we can only do that because of your generosity. So please make sure you check out the Tiltify campaign, especially before the show is over. Let's see what other fun things we have coming up. On June 19th, we have the virtual Advanced ALS Caregivers Bootcamp. So this is really great. So if anyone that's watching, or if you know anyone that is a caretaker to someone with ALS, make sure you tell them about this. This link will also be up in the comment section. Sam is so great about putting everything right there for you, so you can just click and get right where you need to go. So again, spread the word on this because it's virtual. It is June 19th from 1 to 3:30, and it's for all caregivers that are currently caring for loved ones with ALS. They're going to dive in and discuss advanced care needs especially for those that are in the later stages of ALS. And again, it's all free of charge. There will be amazing experts there really diving into some topics. So make sure you join it. Like I said, tell everyone you know that is in the position of a caregiver for someone with ALS. They don't want to miss that on June 19th from 1 to 1:30 virtually. Let me see what other exciting thing. We just have so many exciting things happening. I have to make notes because I don't know what I'm doing around here. Aww. Dan is amazing. You know, I'm serious. I'm not just saying this to say this. I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. This show has just opened the world up to me in the best way. I've gotten to meet so many incredible individuals, and I just keep getting inspired. And I'm so lucky. I feel so lucky to do this. I hope you are feeling this at home too. I hope you guys are feeling so happy and smiling throughout this whole show, because these are incredible individuals. And we have another one for you. The night is not over. We have another amazing man who, like our first guest, has also spent his entire life feeling called to help others. I'm telling you, everyone on this show is so darn inspiring. So as a retired physician and a retired pharmaceutical executive, Michael has found time to pick up some new hobbies, which we're going to talk about later today, and possibly even show you. He's also managed to help with multiple studies and research within the world of ALS, and he continues all of his work, continues to help advance ALS awareness, advocacy, funding, and research. So please welcome Michael Robinson.
Thank you, Susan.
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent, thank you.
Dun, dun, dun. Are you scared?
You are taking me outside my comfort zone. So.
I love it. Don't tell them yet. We're going to surprise them. We're going to hit them up in a few minutes with this. But before we dive into that, because let me just tell you, I'm real scared too. So before we get to that part, you were officially diagnosed in 2015. So for those of you that don't know, or that haven't tuned into an old show, to a previous episode, I want to remind you that once you're diagnosed with ALS, there's about a 2 to 5 year time span that they stamp on it. You have about a 50% chance of living past 2 to 5 years past diagnosis, or 2 to 3, my goodness, 2 to 3. So you're 6 years out. You're defying the odds. You're putting up a heck of a fight, but you actually knew, we talked about this, something happened and you immediately thought this is ALS. How in the heck did you know ALS is somewhat of a rare disease? Why did your brain even go to, I have ALS?
Well, it's sometimes being a physician and working in neuroscience, knowing a little bit is dangerous. And I was late for a meeting and I went to go run and I couldn't get my leg to move. And I'm in my mid-40s, male, and I've got painless weakness in a leg. There's not many things it could be. So my immediate thought was, oh bleep, I've got ALS. And I called my wife and said that. And of course, everybody tries to reassure you that everything's fine and everything will be fine. And 6 months later, I got the formal diagnosis.
Well, you also said that you had made this 5-year plan. So what did that look like? What did you want to accomplish in those 5 years?
Well, and like you said, you get the diagnosis, 50% live 2 to 3 years, 90%, or if 90% don't live past 5 years. Yeah. So I'm in that small category. So you kind of make a 5-year plan, and it was, I needed to move. I needed to get into make adaptations to the house. I wanted to go travel. We bought a motorhome and we just hit the road and saw parts of the states that I hadn't seen and wanted to see, and spent time with the kids, and tried to find ways to do the hobbies I love to do. Sometimes it's possible and sometimes it's not. And so when it's not, I look for other things to do.
Okay. What was so I didn't even know this. So you got to take a trip, just visiting things. What was a highlight from that trip? What was one of the most maybe amazing things that you saw unexpectedly on the trip?
Unexpectedly is experiencing how vast and different the United States are. Because with a global career and traveling the world, and meetings in various cities, you're always in a big city. And you rarely get to just get in a car and drive across America. And I can tell you, it's like visiting 50 different countries, because some of the states are just so different from each other. And so it's really nice to have that opportunity to just take the time and see the country you live in. It's seeing some really seeing the Grand Canyon, lots of national parks that we've never been to. There's so much to see in this place. It's time is too short.
Okay. It's true. And I even feel that way just about the state of Illinois. People probably think I'm crazy, but our state is so big. I mean, and we have so many, it feels like you're in different states when you go to different portions of Illinois.
Yes.
When you hit, you drive 6 hours down south and you're still in the state of Illinois, and it feels like you're in a different world at that point from us here up north.
It takes forever to get across Nebraska.
Does it? Good. Okay, good to know. Leave some extra time if I'm ever taking a road trip to drive through Nebraska. That's my dream, actually. That's on my bucket list. I would love to visit all 50 states and just get one of those big sort of RV, big like tour bus things, and just travel around. Yeah, I love it. You did it though. You beat me to it. I like that. So speaking of, you were a physician, so this is sort of your background, which could be scary sometimes in this situation. But so when we had talked to you and mentioned that you've actually seen ALS from 3 different perspectives. So what does that mean? I mean, and has that been maybe a bad thing for you or detriment, or has that actually been helpful?
I think it's been more helpful than a detriment. As a physician, I mean, I didn't see a lot of ALS clinically practicing. I was a psychosomatic medicine physician by training. So yes, I did see a few cases of ALS, but I was always working with the emotional aspects or the psychiatric aspects of the disorder. And I saw lots of other neurodegenerative disorders like MS and Parkinson's, et cetera. But then from the pharma side, I see what goes into research and drug development and the process and the years it takes and the dedication and the funding. And then as a patient, I think the biggest thing that you get hit with as a patient that you do not realize, either as a physician or as in the pharma world, is the sense of urgency and isolation that the patient has. You just have a different sense of time and a different sense of urgency than anybody else. And you can't project that onto others. It just is what it is. And you will get frustrated at times because others, you want to move things fast and break down barriers and sometimes it takes time. There's a lot of bureaucracy in our healthcare system. It's
so sad. We're going to keep fighting to try to change that too. So we've got some great things with advocacy. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But before we do, we're going to make things a little interesting. We're going to make things a little bit more difficult. Because you know what? Apparently that's what we like to do on this show. We like to challenge people. We do. So I find this incredibly interesting. And I think actually I'm going to call on Sam to show some pictures. Otherwise, I'll pull my cell phone up. So you picked up this new habit. You hadn't had any training. I think people are going to be blown away when they hear this. You've never studied this, but you had all this extra time thanks to the global pandemic and the quarantine. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about this. So what is your brand new habit that you've started?
So you have all this time on your hands. You're scared to go out because you're in a pandemic and you're in a vulnerable population. So I was thinking, well, what can I do to spend my time? And with the anxiety and being a psychiatrist, I was looking for, and I spent my life in science and math. I'm a science and math guy, and I wanted to go outside my comfort zone and do something that was right, engaging the right side of your brain. And it's because it has a lot of mental health benefits. It can reduce stress, it can improve mood. And I figured, why not? I have time. I love to learn. Let's do it. So my wife got me some watercolor paints, and I said, let's go, let's try. So I went online and I just started painting, and one thing led to another. And I just gradually found myself really loving it. It was such an escape. Time would fly by. And it's just something I absolutely love to do. Now, being a math and science guy, I have gravitated, as you can see from the pictures, into that photorealistic genre, because everything is so detailed and so precise. So I still get some kind of that precision and detail, but still get to engage that artistic or right side of the brain. And it's really been wonderful for coping with the last year.
I know. Okay. So before, I don't want Sam to take this away yet. Can we all just take a second? Because I have to tell you, when we were talking on the phone and I'm hearing, oh yeah, you've never been a painter. You've never studied it formally. You just, picked up a habit. You just taught yourself how to do it. You just started this last year. And then you send me this. And I'm thinking, I would really like to call out some BS on this because this is stunning. I mean, I was walking around showing everyone in my family, look at this. He's not a painter. He had no idea what he was doing. You're making me feel awful about my abilities in the artistic
world. This one in particular, I had never done a background before. And so this was my first attempt at a background. And I figured, and I was always intimidated to try water. And what the heck? You just dive right in and just go for it.
Oh yeah, what the heck? You just go for it. And it just looks like that. Yeah, okay, come on. That's not even fair. That is the most, that water is stunning. And it is this 3D thing. Well, this intrigues me too also, because you were talking about the way your brain sees things, that you see them in 2D or 3D. And so you're incredible at making that looks like a photo, like you snapped a photo, and it is not. You were just, messing around.
Yeah. It does. No, that took about 30 hours to do. So, and you could get the size proportion. But you're right. So what I've found in the process in doing it is I've learned to, when I look at an image, I can look at it and my brain can see it in 2 dimensions. So that means I can see all the different colors on a piece of 2-dimensional paper, and it's those color variations and contrast variations that creates the 3D depth. And then I can just look at it and make my brain see it in 3D. So I go back and forth between seeing it in 3D and seeing it to 2D to create the image, which then ends up looking like it does. I can't explain it. It's just something that happens, and
it's perfection. That's what it is. You found that you had this secret talent hiding in you this whole time. Donna Clack says, yeah, Michael, you are an incredible, talented artist, and she loves your work. And then Kevin popped in and was saying how beautiful and realistic it is. Ditto everyone. Everyone who's not commenting, it's because they're in shock and awe of how incredible that was. I guarantee it. So speaking
and of course, in the back of my mind was, I'm going to do this and hopefully in the future have an art sale and raise money for ALS.
Aww.
So
you know what? I already loved you, and now I just love you even more. I love that you're so incredibly talented, and you want to share that talent with the ALS community. This is what I'm talking about. Inspiration. Wow. Okay. Now I am intimidated, because before I knew how good you are, we decided it would be really fun to paint together. So on the show, we have some more things we want to talk about, but while we do it,
Absolutely.
So we're gonna make this hard. We are going to paint together. We're both going to paint a sunflower. So we're going to paint the same thing, but we're obviously going to have different takes on it. While we finish the rest of this interview, we are going to paint live on air. You guys are going to get to watch this monstrous disaster that is going to be mine. And this absolutely beautiful thing that Michael is going to create.
Well, thank you. And normally a sunflower would take me about 20 hours to do, and we're doing it in 15 minutes. We are doing it in 15 minutes. I'm not going to lie. Mine will probably be done in about, 6 minutes, but I'm going to try to stretch this. So we're going to bring in some other cameras here, because we've got this set up so you can actually watch us
try to paint. This is me moving around with the rings on my finger. I'm the one that doesn't know what they're doing. So you'll be able to tell the difference between us. So I have no artistic ability. So Michael's going to win this battle all day long. But as we're doing this, because why would we just focus on one thing? That's no fun. Let's talk about, I don't even know where I am anymore. Oh, you had mentioned earlier. So you had some really cool hobbies. You're a big sports guy, very, very big into sports, athletics. But obviously with this, you've had to change some things
Yes.
around. So how have you adapted to this new normal that you are dealing with?
Well, there is a world of adaptive sports that I've discovered, and it is difficult to access at times because the equipment needs and the various needs can be challenging. But just because you love something and you become disabled doesn't mean you can't keep doing it. It just may be different. So I was a big fan of snowboarding and winter sports, and so when I got diagnosed, obviously my legs were the weakest at first, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I decided I would stand up on a pair of skis with some outriggers and learn to do that. And then the next year I wasn't able to do that, so I went to it's called a ski bike, which is like a mountain bike, only it's got skis on it. And I did that the next year because my legs weren't strong enough to stand.
Okay.
And then the next year I couldn't do that. So I then transitioned to, it's called sit skiing. So you sit in a chair kind of, and your skis on the bottom. And I learned to sit ski. And of course, none of this is possible without the tremendous people that put these adaptive programs together and make it accessible for people. So now I do water sports like that. I managed to still go behind boats or on a wakeboard in the snow and also on the water. There's lots of different sports that are accessible, and again, you have to find a new way of doing what you love. And when you can't, like I did with painting, you find different things to do. And sometimes I'm so grateful because if it had not been for ALS, I would have never painted. I would have never drawn. I would have never done any of this. And it brings so much joy and happiness I just love doing it. So I'm grateful for that.
I can't even believe that you would have never found your way. This is crazy to me how life works out sometimes because you are so insanely talented. I would have liked to hope that you would have found your way to this no matter what, but holy smokes.
No, it's a surprise to everybody, including my wife, who had no idea.
She had no idea she married a famous artist.
She would be the one that would draw for the kids, not me. I couldn't.
Oh, is your wife artistic?
She is. She's not. She's the artistic type, and yes, she can draw and could always do that. But I just never did. I was into science and math.
Oh my God. And it's ironic because I don't even know what I'm doing over. I'm trying to let you guys see this mess I'm making. I think it's funny because I was telling my grandpa he was a surgeon. He's a retired surgeon and he's a painter now as well. And he's just like you. He's very strategic about it. He spends a year making a painting and it's all very realistic. And I'm over here just like, making lines on a paper looking ridiculous. And he doesn't understand how this is art, but that's all I got. That's all I got. Wow. You have so many talents. One of those talents has been helping us because you've gone to advocacy. Let's see, you've gone to advocacy 4 times. I've talked about that a lot on the show too. Yeah. So cool.
Did that today. Actually did that today.
Yeah, you're getting prepped and ready because we actually have one coming up real soon.
Actually, I did it today. I was on the phone with Senator Durbin and Representatives Schakowsky and Mike Quigley, who sponsors the Act for ALS, which is so critically important for our community.
So cool. Okay, so tell me about that. How did that go? What's happening? What are you guys talking about?
Well, one is year over year the funding has increased so this was my 4th time there. I started in 2017. Year over year, I've been able to see the funding and the attention increased significantly. In fact, it's more than doubled over the last 5 years. Secondly, the two bills that are that we got represented to or reintroduced to Congress, the Promising Pathways Act and the Act for ALS. These are both really critical bills, especially the Act for ALS, because there's many ALS, actually the majority of ALS patients don't qualify for clinical trials. Okay. And there's very little access to experimental therapies. Funding is a big issue for that. And so Act for ALS tries to solve some of that gap as well as others, and it really is critical. And there, fortunately, the bill, Mike Quigley's office is doing outstanding work, getting more and more sponsors on board. They'd like to see 300 sponsors. I think as of today, it was 157. They're adding 5 or 6 sponsors a day, they said, and they hope that by this summer, they'll hopefully get up to 300 and move on this bill. And I would love to see that happen. Because like I said, and I stress to them, the sense of time or the sense of urgency for action, we like to be heard. And so listening sessions with the FDA and Congress, but more importantly, we like to see action. Mm-hmm. And you know, because unfortunately, a lot of us don't live long enough to see the fruits of our labor in terms of advocacy and see the changes. And so that's what I really stress is we need to see action. And I think we might here. It took 4 years. I went 3 repeated times to Congress talking about the Social Security Disability Act to eliminate the waiting period, and then finally now have seen it. But I can tell you, many of the patients I first met and became friends with, some the first time I went, they've all since passed and say they never even got to see the outcome of their advocacy action. And that's where I continue to, I'm one of the fortunate ones to be a slow progressor. And so I find it part of what I want to do is be able to advocate for those who can't and don't live long enough to be with us to do that. And so I do. It's in my comfort. It's in my zone. It's terms of, I spent a career in pharma and medicine. And so I cannot imagine what it is like to navigate this illness without that knowledge. I really can't. I didn't say it when we were talking about my diagnosis, but had I not known something about medicine, I would have had unnecessary back surgery, because I saw 3 physicians during the initial part of the diagnosis, and they wanted to do back surgery on me. They thought it was related to my back, and it wasn't, and I didn't think it was. And because I didn't think that, I decided to get second opinions, and it turns out I was right, unfortunately. So.
Well, and you made a great point when we were talking to, like, you have to be your own advocate, especially Absolutely. In this world. You have to.
Absolutely, and I can't stress that more. Our bureaucratic and disconnected healthcare system. It doesn't mean there aren't great doctors out there. There are, but there's a lot of challenges to practicing medicine today. And unfortunately, getting some people to listen is the biggest challenge. And you know your body the best. You know what's going on. If you think something is wrong, keep pursuing it. You know something is wrong, and it just takes that relentless advocacy. I recently had a bowel surgery, and I want to point this out because this is a really important point. I had several physicians refuse or say I didn't need surgery, or say my gut condition, it was chronic diverticulitis, was mild, and it was my friend who was a general surgeon that said, I think they might be just biased because they see you have ALS, and so they figure you're gonna die soon, and they're not gonna rush to treat you. And I said, I had never really thought of that, but you're probably right. So I actually challenged the surgeon to this perspective, and to his credit, he said, yeah, that might be part of what is going on. So it just so happened to be like a month later that an article came out in a February journal of public health with Dr. Lisa Iazzoni from Harvard, and she wrote on physicians' perceptions of patients with disability. And it was all about the biases that physicians and people may have towards patients with disability. And it underscores the need to continue to advocate for yourself, because an ALS diagnosis can lead a physician to have certain assumptions about your general well-being, your general care, your prognosis. And so they might be withholding or not presenting treatment options that are appropriate, because they think it's just conservative management and keep you going until you pass. Unfortunately, that I had to spend almost a year advocating for myself for this, and was on a liquid diet for almost 8 months. And I had the surgery in April, and I can eat anything I want. I feel fantastic, and it was the right thing to do. And so it underscores, your body best. When something is wrong. Follow that hunch. Follow that, and don't give up on finding a physician or a healthcare practitioner that's going to listen to you.
Okay. I mean, you make so many valid points. That's such a great lesson for everyone that's listening, because it really is true. Like you said, your own body best. You've got to be your own advocate. And speaking of all of this, I want to get this in before the show's over, because this was so amazing. You and I were talking about this really cool thing. Tell it to everyone, because I'm going to just butcher it if I'm trying to even begin to explain this. But we were talking about the brain communication interfaces.
Yes.
Break that down on a very basic level for everyone, because this is so fascinating to me. And clearly, sorry, I'm probably not, I don't even know what my face is doing. I'm trying real hard to concentrate and to try to make it look like I'm doing something right here. This is what's happening over here. So tell us about this.
Yeah. So one of the things that scares me and worries, the fear that I have, is what is the near end going to be like, and what is it going to be like when you can't communicate? And you see a lot of patients with, or you hear about eye gaze systems. Eye gaze systems have a lot of, they offer benefit, and there are great people. There are people that use them fantastic, like Steve Gleason. But there are limitations. There are limitations to the lighting. They require frequent calibration. If they require eye movement to be able to use effectively. In late stage ALS, there's some people, they lose the ability to actually move their eyes significantly. Their eyelids can droop significantly, so their eye gaze systems don't work. And so, what's the alternative, right? Okay. There are generally three brain communication technologies out there. Two of them are invasive, and they do minor surgery to insert probes into your brain to detect the electroactivity and translate that into activity on a computer. I've been interestingly consulting with a company called Neuro, and the company neuro.ca, and they have a system called NUOS, Neuronal Operating System. And it's interesting. There's glasses you can wear, and there's a very very small headband device, and I actually have it. It's just looks like this, and you put that around your forehead like this, and you can tell a computer, by it monitoring your brain activity, you can tell a computer to click on something. You can change a song to a different song. You can alert your caregiver that you need help. The system is set up that it's got a mobile version. So if my wife is somewhere doing groceries or running an errand, and I'm home alone and I need help, I could actually communicate with her and send her a text message, not using my eyes, not using my hand, not using anything but my brain. It's remarkable.
This
And
is so cool to me. This is so interesting because you even said there are other people that are doing this, right? But they're invasive. There's other places that they put a chip in your brain.
well, they put probes in your brain, yes, but and they're minimally invasive, but it is invasive, and they do some different things. But this system is available under expanded access. It's a Canadian company, and actually June is Brain Communication Interface Month with Everything ALS, and there's a series of 3 webinars. One of them is already occurred on Neuralink. The second one is actually tomorrow night, and it's on BrainGate, one of the companies. And the third one is on June 30th, and that's the company called Neuro, and we're going to be going through that technology on June 30th.
Okay. This is so exciting. So one of our listeners wants to know, oh gosh, you can read that comment. So if you have a dirty mind, is there a child filter? Is there like a parental control that can be put on this? It's a filter.
It's all effective technology, yes.
Yes, leave it up to our viewers to come up with the real hard-hitting questions over here. No, I think this is so cool, especially because I mean, I got into ALS because I lost a friend of mine, and it was crazy seeing him. This was years ago, so the technology has definitely advanced, but he had the machine that it could read his eye movement, so he was able to move his eyes and speak. But like I said, in the final stages of ALS, he couldn't hold his head up. Yes. And that became more difficult. So he lost the ability to be able to communicate. This is a game changer. This is so amazing.
And it's extremely customizable. It doesn't require any kind of special user calibration. It can be, if you set up in a day, out of the box, and it's simply a tablet and a peripheral device, either the headband, or a pair of glasses, and that's all there is to it. It's easy to use. It can be mailed around, and I have this test unit because I'm testing it with them and giving them feedback and just seeing how it is.
Has it been working well for you? Are you loving it?
Absolutely, and I'm just amazed because I've taken care of locked-in patients. I've taken care of the patients who have had stroke and are completely locked in. Similar to the way an ALS patient is at the end of near the end stages, and it's so anxiety provoking to think that you're going to be in that spot, or you could be in that spot, and an inability to communicate, and this changes that. It opens up the ability to be able to communicate, to say if you have to go to the bathroom, to say if you have pain. And to have some control of your environment, and it just relieves a lot of fear and anxiety around the later stages.
Oh my gosh. And I think it's something that maybe people like myself, or people that aren't dealing with this battle, we take for granted, the ability to communicate, because it comes so easily and second nature to us. And what is life like when you lose that ability to verbally communicate? I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It's a fear, but we don't have. There's technology. There's excellent advancements going on this space, and it's very anxiety relieving.
It is. And thank goodness that there are smart, brilliant minds like you out there that are helping develop this stuff, because you made a really great point earlier. When you have ALS, you're on a timetable, and so there is no time to waste. We have to get this stuff out there now. We have to fight these battles now. I mean, thank you so much for what you were doing today with advocacy, because we've got some really incredible asks that hopefully we're going to get everything we're asking for, but there's some incredible asks out there that we really need. So thank you for helping us get there closer.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's show them. Show me your sunflower. Oh yeah, okay, yours actually looks like a real sunflower. Mine's the cartoon version.
Very fast. Very fast.
I mean, are you kidding? That's gorgeous. I tried to cheat by using glitter, because I feel like just glitter makes everything pretty. So you just throw some glitter on there and it makes everything pretty. And I was annoying you. Huh?
The sunflower that went out for the walk stuff was one I painted.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the sunflower on the postcards and stuff, that's one I painted.
Oh, that is so cool.
I did the sunflower for ALS, and it's one of the ones I keep getting requests to do more of. So I'll do another one.
How did I not know this? Can you, not that one that you made, because I'm actually going to annoy you. Can you sign that and send it to me? Because I'm going to keep that forever. I'm pretty sure you don't want this. But
Sure thing.
I want your version of it. But if you make another sunflower, let me know, because we should auction that off. No one's getting this one. I will outbid everyone because I want the one you just made. But if you make another sunflower, let us know, because we should auction it off. Auction it off in the show. Yeah, you guys that are watching, who wants a sunflower? Does somebody want a sunflower from him? Because I do. Oh.
And I drew a picture. I drew the picture of Bernie Sanders in the at the White House and I am trying to get Bernie to sign it so I can auction that off. I think it would be a great fundraising activity for ALS.
I love these ideas. That is so funny. I don't know. Did you see that comment that popped up? What is it? Love the sunflowers. Oh, see, that someone's very nice to me. Season A+ for the beginners category. Michael, again, stuns with his beautiful artwork. It's perfection. His paintings belong in the best art galleries. Thank you both for a fun event. Yes, Michael kicks my butt. Much, your sunflower was amazing, and I love that. We're gonna have to throw an auction up there, because I had no idea you made the sunflower for the chapter. That's incredible. Yeah. Your stuff is beautiful. And I'm showing everyone I encounter that picture of the dog and the duck, because, get out of here. You said, I've never done this before. I'm thinking, okay, I have a chance. No, I did not have a chance. You were so much fun. You're another one. Like you and Dan, I could just talk to you guys all night long. We gotta go, because I always run over time. This is the hardest part for me. But before we do go, Michael, is there anything that you want to say? I mean, anything you want to say to those that are taking on this battle, that are recently being diagnosed with ALS?
I think that one of the biggest things for me, my personal advice is don't fight the changes. Go with it. Get adaptive equipment as early as you can, so you can get practice using it, and get counseling. I still see somebody every week, and I don't know what I'd do without them. It really helps to talk through. You're so isolated in the disorder, and no one really has that sense that you have, that counseling is really helpful.
Okay. I do think that the stigma for that, it seems like, especially lately, we're really trying to get rid of that stigma that it's okay to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with it, so do it.
Absolutely.
And take up great pastimes,
and
like
take
painting.
Up art.
You may find that you're a hidden talent, just like Michael was. I unfortunately am not, but you know what? It was very calming to do this. So I'm glad I got to do this with you.
That's great.
You're gonna have to give me an art lesson sometime and teach me how to actually, paint something real. Well, Michael, thank you so much for being on this show. I had such a blast with you, and keep in touch.
I will. Likewise.
Keep in touch. Awesome. Well, hope to see you soon, and hopefully I can actually give you a big old hug, and we can get rid of all this COVID craziness.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Take care, everybody.
Oh, I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. Sorry, I don't know what my faces were doing. They were probably awful, but I was trying. I was actually really trying and concentrating. So it's real sad that my sunflower turned out the way it did, but that's okay. I will love and appreciate it. And you guys, Michael and Dan are seriously two of the most amazing men. I hope you guys were as inspired as I was tonight. And again, this is why we do this. So let's put an end to ALS. Let's find this cure so that we don't have to continue having these types of conversations. So we need your help. If you guys haven't done it, the show is almost over. So make sure you head to Tiltify, make sure you make your donation, because we need it. Every little bit helps. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you are following us so that you do not miss an episode. Hit that little heart button, follow us, and you can even set reminders, because we want you here with us all the time. And then next Tuesday, the 22nd, come right back here on Twitch to catch our community game night. Play a game with us. Sarah and I will be here enjoying, laughing, doing all kinds of fun, silly things. So we want you to join with us. And again, if you know anybody that is a caregiver, make sure you have them. Woo, we got a donation. Cabana Boy, thank you so much for donating to our Tiltify campaign. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening, jumping in on this party. I love it. Cabana Boy, you rock. Again, so if you know anybody that is a caregiver for somebody with ALS, make sure you remind them that we have our caregiver boot camp on June 19th from 1 to 3:30. It is free and it is virtual. Hop on there. It's got some really great tips. And again, the Superhero Saturday, get out there and walk. Spread awareness about ALS, throw up a sign, post it on social media, hashtag ALSA Chicago, hashtag Walk to Defeat ALS. We still have 3 of them coming up in September, so don't forget that. And remember, Amazon Smile. I don't know if the link was put up there. If not, oh, yep, Sam's giving me the nod. So check back, scroll in the history of our comments and find that link, because anything you buy on Amazon, use the link for Amazon Smile, because they will donate a portion of that to our chapter. We don't want to miss out on that. So thank you guys again for another great Tuesday night. I hope you had as much fun as I did, and I will see you next Tuesday night for community game night. And then on June 6th is our next show, and it's going to be an amazing one. Until then, everybody, be bright and shine your light.